Narrow, hickory smoked barbecue, and OG hot. So why have one new favorite chicken sandwich when you can have 12? Try the new sauced and tossed Wingstop chicken sandwich today for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Valid for a limited time and available at participating Wingstop locations only while supplies last. Price subject to applicable taxes and fees.
The good sports at Bison don't just manufacture sports equipment. Our employees watch, play, coach, and support student athletes at all levels. We're proud sponsors of the NSAA and big fans of the state basketball tournaments. Good luck to all the teams and welcome to Lincoln. If your team needs new basketball, volleyball, soccer, or other sports equipment, visit www.bisoninc.com or call 800-247-7668. Or pick up a basketball hoop for your driveway at Nebraska Sports or Shields.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
At Southeast Community College, community is our middle name. Our continuing education classes offer personal interest, traffic safety and licensing, online learning, and adult education classes across Southeast Nebraska or online in your own home. Learn pottery or floral design, take a computer course, learn Spanish, how to start writing a book, or Air Fryer 101. See the full schedule of continuing education classes online at southeast.edu/continuing. SCC, your path to possible.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Acres is bringing you the nation's largest indoor display of John Deere equipment and technology. Acres 2024 Ag and Turf Expo showcases everything from tillage and planting to application and harvest. We'll also offer the latest industry insights from ag professionals across the state. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for a complete schedule of speakers and activities.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, I get all kinds of buffet questions. Here's one from Cole.
Is there a real cactus in your cactus bread?
Great question, Cole. No, there is no cactus in our cactus bread, just sweet cinnamony streusel. It's on our buffet every day, along with pizza, chicken, ice cream, and all your other favorites. Even better, at least for your parents, kids eat free on Tuesday nights. And don't worry, Cole, there's no coal in our coleslaw either.
Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Those weren't my knuckles.
They were not your knuckles. Not bad. Okay.
That was a screw cap, otherwise in the pretentious wine world known as a Stelvin closure. Did you know that?
A Stelvin closure.
Stelvin closure.
Did Stelvin invent the screw cap?
NASA, I believe, did.
Was it Stelvin at NASA?
Maybe. But, because you can't just say screw cap, you got to add some sort of pretentious vibe to it if it's in the wine world.
In the beer world, do you have to call the pop tab anything?
No, you don't. That's
just pop tab?
That's the good thing about the beer world is less pretension.
That's awesome.
We're trying to bring the wine to the everyman. That's what we're about here at Myers Cork and Bottle.
Everymen like me. I'm an everyman.
You are an everyman. Yeah, so I am an everyman.
You're Kevin Meyer now.
Well, I'm a blue collar guy with affinity, with an
literally
affinity
a blue
for
collar
wine.
guy today.
Yeah, that's right. I got
very
my blue one. Yeah.
Very collared as well. He is Kevin Meyer, Myers Cork and Bottle down at 13th and South here in Lincoln. I'm Austin Norman. This is Old School for about 45, 50 minutes or so. Just heard Omaha Skutt wrap up a win over Elkhorn. The other two quarterfinals in Class B action come your way here shortly. This is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado Certified Piedmontese. Every type of meat, every type of cut. And we bring Kevin in usually 4:15, 4:30 on Thirsty Thursdays to tell us what to pair with our Mercado meats. And as always, Kevin, Mr. Topical, on top of it. Where are we starting today?
Well, let's start with the beer. So yeah, we're state basketball pushed back our time slot a little bit. I'm really disappointed they didn't reschedule it around Thirsty Thursday. But
blame Nick, director of high school sports. Take that with him.
I think the NSAA is going to have some explaining to do. But
how dare they not reschedule a high school event around alcohol? Don't they know kids these days?
Exactly. So brand new brewery to the store. It's called Utapils, and it's from Minnesota, of course.
Utapils, Minnesota.
That's right. And I actually, my mother was one of 7, and she grew up in Minneapolis, and so I've got a lot of DNA up there. And so they all say Oofta, and they've had Lufsa and Lutefisk and all that kind of stuff, and this is called Utapils. And believe it or not, it's actually not a Norwegian Pilsner. It's a Czech style Pilsner, but we're about a couple days away from spring break here, a day away from spring break.
Going. I think it's rolling.
University's rolling. My wife's a school teacher, so hers is next week. So we're getting out of Dodge. I won't be here for Thursday next week, but so that's what the theme is. So we're bringing the sunshine, we're bringing the spring break, we're bringing the party, and so this Utapils is it's a lake beer. It's a lawn mowing beer. It's a step up from your Busch Lights of the world, but it's still just a crisp, clean, spring breaky, fishing on the lakes in northern Minnesota type of a beer.
How many of Minnesota's 10,000 lakes would you say you visited, if you had to guess?
Oh, probably no more than a dozen, just simply for the fact that we would go back to the same one. My mom actually lives on a lake up there between about March and September. So we would always just go back to the same place. So
makes sense.
But yeah, I'd say a dozen, maybe 15 different lakes. But yeah, it's beautiful.
When you say this is a fishing beer, a lawn mowing beer, sunshine kind of beer, like it looks like sunshine color. It is crisp. It is clear. It is golden. The foam kind of sat on top before I started drinking it. Like that's just the few wispy clouds and the bright blue sky. It looks summer.
It looks summery. It tastes summery. It's very clean, which I really like. And, this is the kind of beer that you and the boys can go through a few 6-packs of. And they're 16 ounces. So
yeah,
you get more bang for your buck there too.
What percent are we talking?
I didn't look. I'm guessing.
Not overly strong.
I was going to say probably around 5, and it's straight up 5.0. So
there it is.
Utapils. It's a Czech style Pilsner out of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I want to say too that this is that like you're saying, summer kind of relaxing, just on a boat kind of beer. But the cleanest, it just gets to the point, right? There's no frills. You don't have to put your palate to the test necessarily. It's, hey, here's beer. Have fun.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. The again, not pretentious. Here's a good tasting, well-made, crisp, clean beer, and you don't have to think about it. Just enjoy.
You did, I think, last time you were here, mention your spring break story, south of the border.
Oh gosh,
south of the border.
Do
you have any other spring break trips?
Well, I did meet Jerry Springer one time on spring break in Mexico. Yeah.
So it's Springer break, not spring break.
Well, that's what they were calling it because when they were doing the MTV thing. But I was married. It was my wife and I, and we were at a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and my wife said, and of course we'd been drinking margaritas at the all-inclusive pool
As
bar
one does.
all day. And so let's just say I was slurring my Spanglish a little bit. And my wife said, look, there's Jerry Springer. And I said, oh, I got to go meet him. She says, no, don't. And I made a complete out of myself. And I said something to the tune of, well, it's not the most expensive wine on the menu, but this Cabernet will go really well with your steak. And just, I mean, like a complete idiot. But he was very polite. He was very nice, very kind. And then she gently whisked me away. And that was my other cool spring break story, I guess.
Is that your, if there's one that's more embarrassing and that's willing to fit to print, is that like quote unquote as bad as it's gotten for you? Because I can share stories with you about my worst celebrity experience.
Well,
not spring break related, but
I mean, no, there are plenty of things that are not safe for the radio. But let me hear your celebrity sighting.
Okay, so it was planned in a former life. Coach Tim Miles would come in for his weekly radio show. Weekly radio show. So
Sure.
Gets to be that night, and I tend to wear the clothing of whatever team I'm supporting who's playing that day. Well, Nebraska didn't have a game, hence Coach Miles. So I was wearing Duke gear. To a Husker
head coach
show. Okay, not bright necessarily. So as I'm interning, we had a parking spot down in the Haymarket there for the coaches. We put barricades up to save it for him. They take him down, put him on the side. We'd go grab him. Well, I see that he pulls up. I'm like, okay, well, I'm the second producer. I'm gonna just go grab him. Probably on his way up in the elevator. Well, he had literally just parked, and I didn't realize that. So as I'm grabbing the barricades, he's getting out of his car. No big deal. Hey, coach, how's it going? Thanks for coming in. Hope you had a good day. How's the team looking? Whatever. Get inside, get to the elevator. And he says, so you're wearing Duke gear. Are you a Duke fan? Yeah, I'm a Duke fan. You from out in North Carolina? No. Did you have family out there? No. He said, well, why the Duke connection? I kid you not, Kevin. I said, I wanted someone to root for in March.
Oh, yikes. Well, fortunately, you were talking to a coach with one of the best senses of humor of all time. So yeah. I'm sure he didn't take it the wrong way.
He didn't have me fired that night. So I will always appreciate Tim Miles for not slapping me upside the head when we were just in an elevator with no security cameras that no one would have seen.
I did also run into Tom Segura on a beach in the Bahamas, and it was kind of funny because he and his buddy were sitting ankle deep, in their lawn chairs sipping beers, and my wife and I were just walking by, and he says, nice day or something like that. And I was like, yeah, it's hard to have a bad day out here. And I was like, hey, anybody tell you look like Tom Segura? And he goes, never heard of him. And he's like, where's he from? And I said, I don't know where he's from, but he's a pretty good comedian. And I knew exactly who I was talking to, but I wasn't going to fanboy him or anything like that and, bug him. So, but I was super jealous of Jake and when they were in Vegas and he got to drink beer with Bert Kreischer. I'm like, that would be a blast. And so I was kind of looking around for Bert, but he wasn't there. It was just Tom Segura and his wife. So
Tom Segura lookalike and his wife.
It was Tom Segura. But I just thought it was funny because he was like, never heard of him. So all right, let's move on to the wine. So this is called Lapis Luna, which is basically moon and rocks. Or maybe moon rocks. Who knows?
That's what people tell me to kick most times.
Right, exactly. Go kick moon rocks. Especially when you wear Duke colors to a Husker coach interview. That's all right. But Lapis Luna. And again, we're trying to bring the spring break flavor. And this is a Sauvignon Blanc. And it's from the North Coast, which is basically Napa, Sonoma, and Southern Lake counties in Northern California. And we've talked in the past about Chardonnay and what makes it taste buttery or oaky or creamy. And it's this malolactic fermentation process that changes the natural acidity in the wine. Well, this one is a Sauvignon Blanc where they leave the natural acidity alone. Also, a wine like this generally is not going to see any new oak barrel aging. If it does see oak, those are going to be neutral oak barrels that have been used over and over again, so they don't impart the flavor into the wine like a new oak barrel would. So they're meant to be crisp. They're meant to be clean. This is a great like fresh fish wine, shrimp cocktail wine, or just patio pounder. And it's a new feature, Winery of the Month, $13.99 a bottle. Really cool stuff. Nice wines. A lot of bang for the buck. Cool label. Something you could bring to a party and look good doing it.
I'm going to show the label because that was the first thing I noticed. This is some really cool artwork. You'll have to maybe zoom in a little bit on stream. My first thought was it's like almost like Greek mythology, but it's not Atlas holding up like the earth. It's supposed to be the moon, hence Luna.
Right.
But they're like tethered to like an anchor of some sort.
Yeah.
There's a little like cherub and angel or something. And there's like a bird on a little toy.
A little bit of a sort of a Renaissance sort of a type of a look to it.
Yeah.
But it's ethereal. It's like, hey, let's get weird and you know,
those who do not move do not feel their chains.
Okay.
That's what it says.
All right.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it says it.
That's deep, bro. Yeah, I get it, man.
Sounds like something you would say after most of the bottle.
Right. Hey, did you know that those who don't move don't feel their chains?
Whoa, man.
That's heavy stuff, bro.
Whoa.
I tell you what.
You should write a book or something. It says also tropical. I'm having trouble with the tropical. Walk me through the tropical.
So think like tangerine as you take a sip, you know, sort of fresh tart fruit, grapefruit, maybe like lime zest, lemon zest, that sort of thing, I think is what they're getting at. But again, very clean, very crisp. It's dry. And so it's, you know, a lot of times it's difficult to pick up those fruit flavors because there's an absence of sweetness. The sugars have all been fermented out. So, you know, these are going to come in usually about 13.5, 14% alcohol. So it has very little residual sugar left after fermentation, but you still get those notes of those tropical fruits. But yeah, to me, I'm getting more of like a tangerine type thing. What's interesting is Sauvignon Blanc is grown all over the world. And I don't think there's a wine producing country that doesn't grow Sauvignon Blanc, but depending on where it comes from determines how it tastes. And so if you get a French one, the grapes are grown in these very gravelly soils, so they pick up a lot of that minerality. You go to New Zealand and they have a high concentration of a compound called pyrazine, which is the same compound found in grapefruits. So they're super, super grapefruity, citrusy. Now, the ones in California, to me, are almost a little bit of a hybrid. So less grapefruity, but not really mineral either. And like I said, kind of get more of those tangerine notes, maybe more orangey notes versus the grapefruit. But it's just kind of interesting that even though the grape is the same, depending on the climate in which it grows, creates a different profile.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not getting that. Again, the 7-year-old palate I talked about earlier today, because it is just like you're saying, so dry. It's crisp, and also I've never had a tangerine in my life, so I don't know if I could have told you
that could be difficult to relate to. Yeah,
I'm just gonna take Kevin's word for this one.
Well, and I'm guessing it probably didn't really go well with that Reese's thing that you're having earlier.
Oh, that was down a while ago, so that's I don't think that's sitting on my palate necessarily.
You think
everything goes with Reese's, Kevin? Come on now.
Well, I suppose I suppose the beer didn't balance off of that too bad. So,
no.
The wine shouldn't either. But
you do have to shout out Aaron, who comes in, works at Hershey's. He brought a shipment of candy. So it's sitting in the back right now. And
shipment.
Needless. Yes. But I had to take 5. So it's the Reese's
healthy
chocolate
Reese's.
and peanut butter. Yes. With pretzels and peanuts in it. So I basically just had trail mix.
You're basically just, it's
a protein.
It's a protein shake or protein bar. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean,
yeah,
and I can tell you're getting swole just by eating it. That's pretty awesome.
That has, what do you guess for protein content for this protein bar?
8 grams.
3.
Solid.
Not nothing.
Not nothing. 3 is not nothing. That's great.
It is quite something. Not much, but what's going on at the store
Take
right
5.
now, Kev?
Well, we are seeing a ton of new spring seasonal beers. That's kind of fun.
Have you tried any of them? What are your favorites?
Well, I'm really liking this Utapils. I think that's really good. We also got this. It's an Italian style lager, and it's called Fugazi. And I just love saying Fugazi.
Yep.
And it's like it's sort of a like a mobster word for like a fake. So because it's a domestic brewery, so if you were trying to sell a fake diamond, they say, oh, it's a Fugazi, so that's a really good one. We do have some WeldWorks stuff in right now. Some Juicy Bits is kind of their number one seller, and it's not always readily available. They usually do a drop about every couple of months. So we've got some Juicy Bits in right now. And then this new Lapis Luna line, I think just in terms of bang for the buck, just gives you a lot of mileage. kind of punches above its weight class for sure. $13.99 a bottle, and there's 4 types. There's 2 reds, 2 whites. There's this Sauvignon Blanc. There's the Chardonnay, which will have a little more body, a little more richness, and then Pinot Noir, which is going to be a lighter red, and then a Cab for a bolder red. Stricky style, exactly. And so, like I said, they're just what I look for when I'm bringing new wines into the store is that value. You know, where quality for the buck, and at $13.99 they're tough to beat. Plus, like I said, the labels are cool looking, a little bit ethereal, a little bit out there, and you could show up to anybody's house with a bottle of that, and they'd go, "Hey, cool, thanks a lot."
Yeah. And then they'll have it 2 weeks later and say, "Hey, cool, thanks a lot."
Or just pop it that night.
Or that. I mean, ideally, but
either way,
yeah, it works.
You're gonna win.
It's true. Kevin Meyer, Myers Cork and Bottle, with us here during Old School. Check him out, 13th and South, Myers Cork and Bottle. As always, Kevin, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Anytime. We will throw it to break. Safe travels, by the way. Enjoy getting out of Dodge. See you in a couple weeks then.
Okie doke.
He's Kevin Meyer. I'm Austin Norman. This is Old School. More next.
Come see the exciting career opportunities in the world of large ag. Acres, your Nebraska John Deere dealer, is hosting a career fair during our 2024 Ag and Turf Expo. Learn about career opportunities in service, sales, parts, and precision ag, as well as other roles in Acres business support team. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for details.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started. You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Here you go. Coffee's on me and my new BFF. I thought I was your best friend forever. BFF like best financial friend at Members Own Credit Union. Right now, they're offering $100 when you consolidate or transfer a loan or an existing credit card balance and meet requirements. Plus, you get great rates and free advice from a financial partner that will put you first. That sounds like a match made in heaven. Members Own Credit Union is the type of bestie you can count on. Get started today at memberzonecu.org/BFF. Limitations may apply. Equal housing opportunity.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
You had to know that when Wingstop set out to make a crispy, juicy chicken sandwich, they wouldn't make it in just one flavor. They'd make it in all 12, like lemon pepper, mango habanero, hickory smoked barbecue, and OG hot. So why have one new favorite chicken sandwich when you can have 12? Try the new sauced and tossed Wingstop chicken sandwich today for only $5.49 at Wingstop, where flavor gets its wings. Valid for a limited time and available at participating Wingstop locations only while supplies last. Price subject to applicable taxes and fees.
The good sports at Bison don't just manufacture sports equipment. Our employees watch, play, coach, and support student athletes at all levels. We're proud sponsors of the NSAA and big fans of the state basketball tournaments. Good luck to all the teams and welcome to Lincoln. If your team needs new basketball, volleyball, soccer, or other sports equipment, visit www.bisoninc.com or call 800-247-7668. Or pick up a basketball hoop for your driveway at Nebraska Sports or Shields.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Did I forget something?
No, just wanted to tell you I love you. Oh, don't forget to buckle up. Drive safe.
I will. Love you too.
Someone is counting on you to buckle up. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Score big this month at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln and rule the terrain on a Segway Fugelman UT10X. Now is your chance to get into a side-by-side for only $12,000 out the door. That's right, just $12,000. And this bad boy stacks up to all the other name brands. Plus, you get Segway's signature smart commanding system featuring airlock, drive settings, safety alerts, and more. Hurry in now. Elway Power Sports only has 2 left at this blowout price. Swing by their new 27th and I-80 location or shop their inventory at elwaypslincoln.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Big thanks, Kevin Meyer, Meyer's Cork and Bottle, stopping by for Thirsty Thursday. Been a couple weeks since we had him. It'll be a couple weeks till the next one. He's headed out on a well-deserved, well-earned vacation. A heck of a day for Kevin at the store today, so appreciate him stopping by, making time, and giving me something to drink, right? We're back here. We're doing work. We're working hard, doing the best we can. But hey, really, we're just listening to Nick and Jay call basketball all day. Not much better than that. Speaking of that, we'll send you back out to Pinnacle Bank Arena. Nick and Jay will have it back at about 10 till 6. Looking at the bracket in Class B, you saw Crete move on, beating Platteview. Omaha Scott came from behind to beat Elkhorn. Next game on tap, fitting with Thirsty Thursday behind us. Norris, 22-2 on the year, taking on 7th-seeded Bennington at 17-8. Then the nightcap will be Scotts Bluff and Omaha Roncalli in the 3-6 matchup. I have to give a shout-out to my Lincoln Lutheran Warriors on the board. We've talked a lot this winter, this early spring, about Nebraska men's basketball looking for its first NCAA tournament win. Huge shout out to Coach Ballens and the fellas at Lincoln Lutheran. They're on the board in the state tournament. First time in school history they've won a game, only the second appearance. 67-50, they take down Hartington Cedar Catholic. Speaking of conference tournament time, couple things to throw your way from there. Husker ladies in action today in Minneapolis. They got the job done against Purdue. 64-56, the final score. Huskers were down 12-7 after 1. They win every quarter after that, though. 18-13, they take the second to be tied at 25 at the half. They win the third quarter 15-12 and then explode for 24 points in the fourth quarter, holding Purdue to 19, a 64-56 win for the Huskers. They were shooting 33% halfway through the third quarter. That ticks all the way up to 41% in about the last, 12, 13 minutes of the game. Shoot 8 of 22 from long range, 10-15 at the free throw line. The bugaboo for the Huskers, turnovers. They turned it over 19 times, leading to 27 of Purdue's 54 points. Yeah, 27-56. So basically half of Purdue's points came off of Nebraska's turnovers. Nebraska out rebounds Purdue by 5, out offensive rebounds them, more second chance points. The story of the game for Nebraska, Jazz Shelley, 19 points on 6 of 12 shooting. She was 4 of 9 on 3-pointers, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Also added 7 rebounds and 7 assists, playing 38 out of a possible 40 minutes. Jazz was stuck at 9 points halfway through the third quarter. That media timeout when I talked to you last. 10 points then in the last 14 minutes. That's a Jazz Shelley takeover, right? That's what she needs to do. As Nebraska's best player is in these games that are a slog, that are a grind. Jazz Shelley stepped up. Huge kudos to her for her performance, especially there in the second half. Going over the rest of the scoring column for Nebraska, Callan Hake off the bench, 15 points, 5 of 8 from the floor, 3 of 6 shooting from 3. Also hit 2 free throws at the very end of the game to help ice it. And then another near triple-double from Alexis Markowski. 12 points on 5 of 11 shooting, made her 2 free throws, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. So for Nebraska, that's 16 assists on 23 made field goals. Assisting on 2/3 of your made shots, excellent. Incredible ball movement. Job very well done by Nebraska. Again, limit the turnovers in the next round, and Nebraska's probably feeling pretty good. The previous result in the day was Maryland taking down Illinois in the 8-9 game, 75-65. Illinois, of course, knocked off the Husker women in the final game of the regular season. That secured them the 9 seed and also dropped the Husker women to playing today. Had Nebraska won that game, they would not have played today. Their first action in the Big Ten women's basketball tournament would have been tomorrow. But instead, Michigan State jumps up into that number 4 position in the Big Ten. And that's Nebraska's opponent tomorrow. That'll be half an hour after the first game. It's top-seeded Ohio State versus the 8-seed Maryland. That's a 12:30 tip-off. I'm pretty sure that's Eastern time, though. Yeah, so 11:30 Central tip-off for Ohio State and Maryland. Half an hour, 25 minutes or so after that game, you'll have the Husker women taking on Michigan State. Looking to make a run. They should be an NCAA tournament team at this point. But again, if you can beat a top 4 team in the Big Ten, you'd like to consider yourself a top 4 team in the Big Ten. Looking at the bulk of your resume, only 1 or 2, questionable losses on the year. We know this Nebraska women's basketball team is good. Making a run to the semifinals would be huge. Win your 4-5 matchup, get a shot at most likely Ohio State. That's huge. Take your chances with them. Ohio State hurried Nebraska, forced them into plenty of uncharacteristic turnovers. I think Nebraska had 30 or 32 of them. I remember Jay and I talking about that a couple weeks ago. If that's Nebraska's bugaboo, 19 you can overcome when you force 17 of your own, but 32 turnovers is, I'm going to say it, impossible to win a game. If there's ever been a team that has won a basketball game at the Division I college level with 32 turnovers, man, I'd love to see that box scores. The Bridgeport Bulldogs bus drives by here on 11th and O Street, which, hey, come visit us. If you're in town for the state basketball tournament, don't care if you're Class A through Class D2, stop by the station. If you're new, you haven't heard, we are 93.7 The Ticket. We're here at the corner of 11th and O Streets. If you have one of the morning games, make sure you stop by and get your Mill Coffee to start the day. If you're the noon game, you need a pick-me-up, hey, Mill Coffee's there for you. If you're a late game, mid-afternoon game, and you're dragging, you're just waiting for the minutes to tick by to get to your kid's game, hey, guess what? Mill Coffee will help you get through, the long slog of the day, the wait, the anticipation. And that's really where I think a lot of us are at with Husker men's basketball. Again, as the women take down Purdue 64-56, we're just kind of waiting. We're in a holding period for the Nebraska men. They've had their couple of bye weeks recently. The blessing and the curse of that is this. The blessing is Nebraska can get healthy. Nebraska can focus on itself. Nebraska can get in the film room, figure out what it wants to work on. This late in the season, you don't often have that much opportunity to practice, to install plays, to clean up, to freshen up on the details, to make things crisper, run smoother. Nebraska, with each of the last couple weeks being a bye week, has been given that opportunity. Eli Rice, a guy that's coming back from an ankle sprain, who needs that ankle to be at his best because of his athleticism and the way that he plays the game of basketball. That's huge. Rink Mast, we know the knee surgery that he had right after the Kansas State game around Christmas. Getting him an opportunity to save some of his legs, to rest up a little bit while still trying to stay in game shape, that's huge. Juwan Gary, who's been banged up at times, whose game is based on explosiveness, that's big. A guy like even Bryce Williams, who's carried a lot of the load, who's handled the ball more and more down the stretch for Nebraska, yes, get him time off, rest him up. Josiah Alec, who's playing hard all the time. Sam Hoiberg diving on the floor. CJ Wilcher, another chance to hit the reset button, come ready to play here over the last however long Nebraska's season is. Jamarcus Lawrence even, right? To get more comfortable with his role, to figure out what shots are his. That's where a week off, even 2 weeks, between games where Nebraska's played Sunday and then not again till Sunday a couple times here recently, there are blessings in that for this team. Now, the downside is, are you out of rhythm? Are you able to go on the road and pick up where you left off against Rutgers? Rutgers made that last game a slog. The fact that Nebraska was able to win that by double digits is honestly impressive. Having been in the arena for that game, Nebraska got up by 17 points. Rutgers cut it all the way back down to a 2-possession game at 6 points. There was some muttering in the arena. Oh, this one's over. One more bucket, and there's no doubt, but this one's over. And yeah, Nebraska ended up winning by 11 points. It wasn't a comfortable 11, though. Rutgers did a good job of getting back in that game with its defense by forcing some turnovers, by getting into the lane, by emphasizing the matchups that wanted to go at defensively and taking advantage. Nebraska went a little cold. Ball movement wasn't quite as crisp. When it was, then Nebraska didn't pay off the possession by hitting the shot that they worked so hard to get. You credit Rutgers for that, for changing the tempo of the game with its full court pressure, its three-quarter court pressure that it threw on at different points throughout the day. So a good job overall of Nebraska handling it, but the biggest part of that game wasn't necessarily the last 5 minutes. It was the first 5 minutes. Rutgers sunned Nebraska up in Piscataway. Nebraska got up 12 in the first half. Rutgers crawled back in at possession at a time. Nebraska got back up by 12 in the second half. Possession, possession, possession. Rutgers is back in it, just like that. And yes, Juwan Gary went out that game, but Nebraska up 12, even on the road against the Rutgers team at that point. I think they were still in the bottom 4 of the Big Ten when Nebraska went there. Not a game that Nebraska should have lost. You credit Rutgers for it. They did some nice things. They started hitting their shots, especially from 3, where they hit a season high 11 of them. But Nebraska should have won that game. The reason they didn't, 20 offensive rebounds allowed. A good number of them, I think 6 of them at least, to Cliff Amori, who has, as I noted on Twitter before the revenge game for Nebraska here at home, is athletic, is physically strong, who has the mindset to want to impose his will and the stamina, the dedication to do that for however long he's in the game. Nebraska won that game early by setting the tone with its energy. You think about Josiah Allick and his offensive rebounds on the first possession. You think about Rink Mast offensive rebound and put back. And then the 6th point for Nebraska, 5th and 6th points, came on a dunk from Josiah Allick, had the lane all to himself. And so often we've seen Nebraska big men who are able to dunk take that opportunity to just be fundamental and lay it in. Josiah Allick did what I've been asking Nebraska big men to do basically since Isaiah Roby left. Basically the entirety of Fred Hoiberg's tenure. And even before Isaiah Roby, even if I didn't know it explicitly, thinking back, who are the Nebraska big men that dunked with authority, that went to the rim with bad intentions? As Strick would say, trying to put someone in the rim. I don't know. Isaiah Roby did it here and there. Copeland here or there. I hardly qualify him as a big man, though, either one of them, to be completely honest. That's where Josiah Allick, playing the 4, a truer big than like a Copeland or even a Roby, when he has an open lane, I want to see his athleticism displayed. I want to see him rattle and rock the rim. I want to see him bring PBA to its feet. I want to see him sit a road arena down. It's great that Rink Mast hits layups. There's some we'd like back. I'm sure they'd like to hit. But Rink's dunk, I think it was against Michigan, I want to say. Maybe it was against, I'm pretty sure it was Michigan. Don't quote me on that. But he dunks and then he raises to the roof, going back down the floor. It wasn't a thunder dunk. It wasn't the most powerful thing. But if there's going to be a mindset shift in this program, a very simple way to see that mindset shift is when you have an open lane or there's a guy who's a step late in rotation, go to the rim and dunk that thing. Don't go to the glass. Don't try to be cute. Don't try to be soft. Go to the rim. Punch it on someone's head. Not punch someone's head. Punch the ball through the rim on someone's head. Rattle it. Rock it. Bad intentions. Show that you're here to stay. That you're here to send a message. That's what this Nebraska basketball program needs, is that burst of athleticism and pop that says, when we go to the rim, you're not stopping us. You can jump in the way, but we are going through your chest or we are dunking on your head. It's good to have crafty finishers. You need that out of your guards. But if I'm Josiah Alec, I'm dunking every chance I get. If I'm Jawan Gary, who's a wing, not a big, obviously, I'm dunking every chance I get. Bryce Williams has had a couple authoritative dunks. I'm curious to see if Eli Rice gets some run after his ankle injury. Can he pop up on someone's head? Matar Joe, if he gets in a game, or especially next year, he's long, he's bouncy, he's springy. Put one on someone, young fella. Send a message. That is a way to have an enforcer, to say that, hey, we're here. We are the team in control of this game. And there's so many other ancillary benefits from that. That's what I'm looking for out of Nebraska men's basketball. Again, I mentioned that they're in that waiting period of rest versus rust. The benefits of rest I mentioned, the rust is, are the Huskers ready to go? We know about their struggles on the road. One win on the road in conference play all year. Let one slip away at Minnesota. Let one slip away at Rutgers. Could have had one at Ohio State. Iowa, Wisconsin, not great. Northwestern, you didn't play well. Illinois, another kind of what if. What if you get one more stop? What if you make one more shot, hit one or two more free throws? Your wins right now are Indiana in conference play and on the road at Kansas State, whose bubble hopes, oscillate between completely dead and, oh, wait, they just took someone down to the wire. Are they going to steal this one? That's still a quality enough win. But just like dunking as a big man for Nebraska sends a message, winning on the road at Michigan would send a message. No, Michigan's not very good. No, they're not going to get to double-digit wins this year, which Nebraska knows all about that far too well. If Nebraska is a good team, wants to be taken seriously and say, we are a top 4 team in the Big Ten this year, they go find a way and win at Michigan. Doug McDaniel's good. He makes that team make more sense, but he's not perfect. He'll take a lot of shots. He can get out of control. He forces the issue. Make him do that. Put your best defenders on him, right? Or make McDaniel turn it into a one-on-one show. Terrence Williams is fine. Terrace Reed, fine. Jalen Llewellyn, solid enough. I'm not saying Nebraska's going to get up by 30 against Michigan on the road. I'm not saying that's the expectation. The rest, the week off, has been a mixed bag for Nebraska. Sometimes it's worked. Sometimes, to be quite frank, it really hasn't for this team. And here's the thing. They go from Sunday to either Thursday or Friday. Win a game in Minneapolis. There's no excuse for that. Let's say Nebraska plays on Friday, its first game. It wins Friday. Okay, it plays Saturday in the Big Ten semifinals. Again, assuming that Nebraska gets the 3 or the 4 seed. Let's say Nebraska loses on Saturday. Okay, they're sitting there on Selection Sunday. They get their opponent. Monday, prep. Tuesday, prep. Wednesday might be the travel day if they're in a pod that plays Thursday, Saturday. Okay, so you're going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, at least without game reps. That, I think, is a better amount of time to rest and recover while still be preparing than an entire week off. But if you can handle a week off, you can handle a few days off, because this team does need the rest. It does need the time to game plan. Find a way. 3994 says the expectation should totally be win by at least 15 to 20 this Sunday. If not, we're not a tournament team. Hate to break it to you, 3994, Nebraska's a tournament team. I'm confident in that. Their resume is good enough. Unimpeachable? Absolutely not. Compared to the rest of the bubble, it's good. Nebraska's in. It's not even really a bubble team anymore. I'm starting to see Nebraska creep up to a mid-9 seed, being in the lower to mid-30s in terms of seeding. That's a big deal. That means, yeah, you're safe. You really, really have to drop the ball, or worse, to not make the tournament, which I don't think Nebraska's going to do. The reason I don't think it's an expectation to win by 15 or 20 is because of this team's road struggles. Yes, ideally, you go on the road and you smack Michigan around. Do it, please. Absolutely. But given Nebraska's road struggles, just win. If it's by 2, if it's by 5, if it's by 10, it's by 20. I don't care. Would I feel better about a 15 or 20 point win than a 5 or 2 point win? Yes, absolutely. We all would. But at the same time, I don't think Nebraska's program is at a spot right now where we can say, oh, you have to win by this amount, especially on the road. Just go win on the road. That's the task. That's the job at hand. Go win on the road. Tater, is there a chance Huskers play in Omaha in the opening round? There is a chance. There is a chance. I don't know what to put the odds at. All of the projections that I saw had Nebraska in Omaha in a 7-10 matchup. If Nebraska gets a 7 seed, they probably beat Purdue or Illinois in the Big Ten tournament. If Nebraska gets a 10 seed, they probably beat Michigan and lose in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. If Nebraska is an 8 or a 9 seed, I don't believe Omaha is one of those sites. The only other site that's coming to Omaha is a 6-11 or a 3-14 pod. If Nebraska gets up to a 6 seed, they made the Big Ten finals or they won the Big Ten conference tournament. If Nebraska drops to an 11, oh boy. Everyone else on the bubble did work, and Nebraska lost at Michigan and lost first round of the Big Ten tournament. I would say the odds are less likely now that Nebraska ends up in Omaha, but it's still on the table. It's absolutely still on the table. 10 minutes or so to go before we send you back to Pinnacle Bank Arena. Nick Sainer and Jay Foreman waiting. I'm Austin Norman. This is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado. Wrapping up the show next.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs. The Coach's Pep Talk. Done well, it creates strong team unity, improves motivation, and attitude. So when Platte Valley Equipment says they're here to help you succeed, you'll have their 100% support to help you handle any task with their John Deere equipment that gets the job done every time. And with low monthly payments, well, that should be some serious motivation to visit PlatteValleyEquipment.com. Proud sponsor of the 2024 NSAA Boys and Girls High School State Basketball Tournament.
BFF. I thought I was your best friend forever. BFF like best financial friend at Members Own Credit Union. Right now, they're offering $100 when you consolidate or transfer a loan or an existing credit card balance and meet requirements. Plus, you get great rates and free advice from a financial partner that will put you first.
That sounds like a match made in heaven.
Members Own Credit Union is the type of bestie you can count on. Get started today at memberzonecu.org/BFF. Limitations may apply. Equal housing opportunity.
Nebraska Corn Board is expanding access to higher blends of ethanol across the United States, including in California. The Nebraska Corn Board is partnered with Pearson Fuels, who is the largest and fastest growing distributor of E85 in the state of California. In 2023, California sold 120 million gallons of E85, an increase of 55% since 2021. The Nebraska Corn Board, enhancing demand, adding value, ensuring sustainability.
High school basketball fans, take a trip over to the Nebraska High School Sports Hall of Fame while you're in town for state hoops. Admission is free, and it's a great way to learn about some of the greatest athletes and teams to come out of the state, from recently to over 100 years ago in all sports. Learn more about names like Gale Sayers, Johnny Rogers, Bob Gibson, Tom Osborne, and more. Open Wednesday through Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. It's the Nebraska High School Sports Hall of Fame, just north of Haymarket Park at 500 Charleston Street.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just a few minutes left here on Old School, brought to you again by the Mercado. Certified Piedmontese, every type of meat, every type of cut. If you're here in Lincoln for the state tournament, I'm going to let you know this. Tomorrow at the Mercado, Fired Up Friday. 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill. If you're driving in or you're driving out, either way, make sure you get to the Mercado between 11 and 2 for Fired Up Friday. Check their Instagram to see what will be on tap for lunch for you. Big thanks to the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese for being a great sponsor here of Old School. Augie says, back to the mean Nebraska dunkers, maybe Rich King and Stricky. Okay, so Augie, Rich King I'll take your word for, having not watched him play. When Stricky and I did our all-time Nebraska men's basketball draft, which if you haven't listened to that conversation, It was awesome. It was fantastic. We did it about a month ago, I want to say. Just search On the Block with Strick and Austin, Nebraska ball, best players, best team, wherever it is you get your podcast. You can listen back to that conversation. Stricky said Rich King needed a little more dog in him in terms of me making him my starting center on that team. And Strick, here's the thing. Could Stricky get up and punch it? Absolutely. He did. He's told the story of dunking on Ray Allen in Summer League. I'm not doubting that Strick could do it. But I also know the number of times Eric Strickland has told me a layup is worth the same 2 points. I cannot count on all of my digits and my limbs combined. That man liked himself a layup. Now, would he go in with bad intentions? Yes. Stricky would run through your chest to make a layup. He absolutely would do that. He would. He'll do it again, and again, and again, and again. And I get that. But Stricky, 2 points are 2 points to that guy. So even if he could, dunk with bad intentions, I'm not so sure he always would. Heck of a score going on in conference tournament action. You look at the West Coast Conference Tournament in the first round. The score at half, Pepperdine, 5-11 in the West Coast Conference, leads Pacific 56-9. 56-9 in a Division I men's college basketball game. That's like SEC versus FCS, Big Ten versus MAC stuff going on in a conference tournament game. Now, Pacific is wretched. 6-25 on the year, winless in West Coast Conference play. Their top performer right now, 4 points is all. Yes, they have an interim coach. They fired their head man. Not ideal. But man, you're telling me you can't score more than 9 points in a half? Okay, just updated. So this is looking more like an Alabama versus Chattanooga score. It's 66-16. Pepperdine leads at the U16 timeout. Just scrolling through the box score here. Yeah, Pacific 4-2-3-3-2. 2 points scored. Whereas Pepperdine already has 3 players in double figures with 16 minutes to go. Conference tournaments, man, I'm telling you, they're wacky. Weird things happen. We mentioned Nebraska's next opponent, final opponent of the regular season being Michigan. I think we all remember them winning that 2018 Big Ten championship. They beat Nebraska in that one. Nebraska, of course, beat them in Lincoln. Michigan turns right around and beats them in the Big Ten tournament. I had forgotten that the Wolverines had previously won it the year before. I forgot Michigan was back-to-back Big Ten tournament champions. Yeah. So not that I think this year's Michigan is a threat to do that by any sense of the imagination, but it was just interesting to find out. For DP, I'm Austin. It's been fun here on Old School. Thanks to Kevin Meyer of Meyer's Cork and Bottle again for coming in. We'll throw it back to Nick and Jay after this. They're at Pinnacle Bank Arena for Class B state basketball tournament action. Out to PBA after this.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.